I visited Something About Her today and had the pleasure of meeting Katie. We arrived with a friend and my child. Despite a manageable wait in line, we had to wait a bit before being seated. Halfway through our meal, Katie arrived and effortlessly began serving customers. I had crafted several SIA bracelets for fun, which I happily shared with Katie and the staff. They were genuinely enthusiastic and carefully selected their favorites. Katie wore one I made specially for her that reads, "Boys Lie." She was incredibly kind and appeared just as stunning in person as expected. They even featured the bracelets on IG, which left me absolutely thrilled. Katie was spot on about her wealth of hospitality experience and her business acumen. This is how you build a devoted customer base and attract new interest. I wonder how Schwartz and Sandy's is faring in comparison. It's amusing to note that Schwartz has already visited SA 4 times. He's certainly been the most supportive cast member of the sandwich shop so far. However, I can't help but find it curious. How does Schwartz's 20-something-year-old girlfriend feel about his frequent visits to his ex-wife's sandwich shop, especially when he makes a public display of it? She may give off a laid-back vibe now, but this could become a sore point in their relationship later on. It's very characteristic of Schwartz to become most supportive of Katie only after the divorce papers are signed. He could have shown up for her any time Sandoval was being difficult, but that seemed too challenging. It was much simpler to show up for the business they had dreamed of together, until he once again chose his master over her. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Spill Chronicles. It's me, Ramona here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. However, Ariana came not just to play, but to dominate. Tom really gave up this strong, loyal partner for Raquel? I will never comprehend it. What a complete fool. In fairness, Ariana wasn't showcasing her full strength when she was with Tom because she constantly dimmed her brilliance for him. She had to break free from his influence to truly shine. I've been cheering for Ariana so passionately because we rarely witness women triumph like this. Despite her ex, her friends, and even her employer creating a toxic environment to hold her back, she emerges looking absolutely incredible. This is the kind of fairy tale victory I admire. She shed 180 lbs of dead weight and found happiness loving herself. On the other hand, Barbie Ferreira and possibly Tamara are both rocking Katie's reunion dress, and they look fabulous in it. Recently, I dug up my winter formal photos from 1997 because my hairstyle resembled Scheana's at the reunion. It turns out, my dress had a similar vibe to Katie's reunion dress. Fashion really does come full circle. One thing I adore about 90s fashion is its simplicity. Dresses from that era remain timeless and relevant even today, with their clean, straightforward silhouettes. Cher Horowitz's Calvin Klein underwear would absolutely slay today, along with hair barrettes making a comeback. I still remember those backless black halter dresses. Katie would look incredibly chic in one with her hair slicked back behind both ears. I'm doing my best to resist revisiting my beloved junior high style. When will cropped, zippered bowling shirts paired with khaki cargos and chunky Mary Janes come back? Or black-ribbed mock turtlenecks with tartan plaid skirts, streetwear makeup, and clear Melissa shoes? However, Stassi's absence is felt, and I'll admit I've always had a love-hate relationship with her. I love her wit, humor, and unapologetic persona that made for great TV and created so many iconic moments. However, I also acknowledge the things she's said and done that can't be taken back, leading to her being fired. Seeing her with Beau and their kids suits her well, and the thought of her asserting dominance over the Toms with a side-eye at Scheana would be epic. But maybe some dreams aren't meant to come true, OP. I really wish Stassi could host the reunions. Rewatching, it's clear she was pivotal in making VPR what it became. Originally thought to be the Scheana show, Stassi completely took over, and I love her for it. Seeing a slightly softened, motherly side of Stassi in action would be fascinating. Despite everything, she and Beau seem genuinely happy. Why risk that? I'm glad she turned down the valley. Reality TV can destroy marriages so quickly, it's heartbreaking. They seem happy together. Beau has definitely mellowed her, and becoming a mom has brought out the best in her. Towards the end, she did become a bit boring. It's like she saw her earlier behavior and tried to police herself. I still say they should scrap them all and bring in a fresh group of 20-somethings. While I agree with this in theory, the problem in practice is that nowadays all potential new cast members for reality TV want fame. They study the shows, learn how to play the game, and chase moments, which makes them feel inauthentic, in my opinion. Bravo, in their wisdom, similar to an earlier season when they introduced numerous new cast members to VPR, and it backfired. Didn't integrate existing restaurant staff, but instead auditioned waves through talent agencies. It shouldn't be hard to look at the existing staff at one of the restaurants and cast the most interesting, messy ones, which worked so well initially. Sorry for the rant, but I've been saying for years that this audition process has ruined the Real Housewives franchises. Instead of adding genuine friends of the cast with authentic relationships and histories, they bring in random newbies who cause drama and pick fights for screen time. It feels forced and fake, and I've grown bored with the Real Housewives after watching since the beginning of OC. I hope the same fate doesn't befall VPR, but clearly, what they're doing now isn't working either, so what do I know? Additionally, rewatching the early seasons, it's striking how unfairly the group treated Stassi for not wanting to be around during season 3 filming, especially during the season finale. It's no surprise that years later, they seem comfortable being ruthless towards Ariana when she also had valid boundaries. Sandoval even used almost identical reasoning with Stassi and Ariana. We all put ourselves out there. Stassi wasn't flawless, but she definitely endured mistreatment. On her birthday, when Schwartz dumped a beer on her and called her names because she was upset they invited her ex-boyfriend to Vegas, it was infuriating. Adding insult to injury, they took her limo. I can't recall the exact season, but when she was upset with Scheana for circulating Frank's video of her, the rest of the cast treated her terribly. If my friends treated me like that, I wouldn't want to be around them either. The whole ordeal was infuriating. Even Katie and Kristen were upset that Stassi didn't want Jax at her birthday. It was her day, and he had cheated on her, so she didn't invite him. Yet he showed up with an attitude, and they blamed her? Ridiculous. Not to excuse their behavior, but they felt Stassi and Jax not being together jeopardized the show's main storyline. That's why they reunited despite breaking up right before season 1 filming. It also explains why Katie insisted on going on Scheana's trip and her wedding too, for the sake of the show's storyline. However, Stassi wanted more support from everyone, and rightfully so. Scheana and Sandoval have always harbored animosity and jealousy towards Stassi, which has been evident throughout. Moreover, Sandoval on DUTS would be cringeworthy, continuously rewarding someone who illegally recorded Rachel without her consent. Not to mention the controversies in the New York Times comments, seems to just inflate his ego. The attention he receives, even if negative, only serves to fuel him, and networks keep enabling this behavior. I enjoy VPR, but can't stand scenes with Sandoval. I never liked him even before the scandal broke. When Sandoval happened, I was relieved that others were finally seeing what many of us had noticed about him. Now he's potentially ruining another show I like. Please, not DGOBTs too. He doesn't make good TV for me. I either fast forward through his parts or skip watching altogether. Can we stop casting him? Will he actually do DUTS and risk performing worse than Ariana? It's likely, given his delusions about his abilities. As someone who was mildly supportive of Tom being on Traitors because I found it amusing, I think he would be absolutely terrible on DGTS. None of the professional dancers deserve to deal with his over-the-top antics, which would quickly become tiresome. Thankfully, Cheryl likely doesn't have much insider information beyond speculation. Does he despise the dancers and crew? He's probably going to be difficult to work with, potentially yelling at whoever he gets paired with. I doubt this will draw the Bravo viewership they anticipate. Sutton or Kate Chastain would be far better choices. On the other hand, just realized who Joe and Schwartz reminded me of when they were together, their quirky voices and expressions. No disrespect to Aaron or Andy because I adore them. I'm pretty sure one of them has said rit-tit-dit-dee-doo. Joe's clothing website front page. Also, her face and neck are a completely different shade than her torso in the cutout, which is a bit jarring. I know this happens. I'm only tanned on my upper body right now, but I'm not walking around in shorts, let alone trying to sell clothing. You'd think she would know better, but it's very on brand. Actually, scratch that. I think Gabe and Aaron remind me of Schwartz and Joe, with Schwartz being Aaron. However, even if it takes years, Bravo should refrain from filming a new season until every single cast member's real life has undergone significant change. While Bravo paused filming, possibly to allow Tom and Ariana to navigate their lawsuits and prevent a season dominated by "I can't comment on that," it's clear they've realized they have several highly paid cast members who haven't lived authentically in years. Listening to podcasts and observing social media, it's evident which cast members are desperate for the show's return, and which ones are embracing the hiatus. Lala and Scheana can't stop talking about VPR, almost as if they regret buying their multi-million-dollar homes in the valley. Earlier this year, Lala made comments about Rachel assuming she'd be bagging groceries for money after leaving the show. It makes me wonder what Lala will do for income if the show goes on hiatus. I'd like to see her attempt to secure a wealthy man while living with her mom and brother, having never built a career outside of VPR and rich relationships. As for Scheana, imagine her stepping aside for Brock to take the spotlight or be the breadwinner. She frequently mentions her connections with the Valley's cast on her podcast, as if that would make viewers want her on that show. The Valley doesn't need her. She should stop vlogging and take a hiatus to make viewers miss her and bring authenticity back to the show. Sandoval is a hot mess to the point where he shouldn't be on the show. He and his girlfriend are desperately trying to manufacture storylines, which is cringeworthy. Meanwhile, Ariana, Katie, Schwartz, James, and Ali seem to have compelling personal and professional developments that could make for interesting television. If we're expected to watch a show about people who don't really hang out in real life, their lives should be fresh and intriguing. I'm tired of the fakeness. Lala openly admitting she behaves differently on the show than in real life and disparaging her fans, and Scheana blaming producers for betraying her friendships for the sake of her job. A hiatus could be the best thing for the show, providing an opportunity to revamp, retool, or adjust the cast. I believe the break could be much longer, especially considering the need to figure out how to proceed with a show that no longer works. Producers don't seem inclined to delay filming for Ariana, specifically, as evidenced by not pausing for Sandoval's other show. Additionally, I began watching because all my friends and LGBT+ community were obsessed with Sandoval. I was already deep into my first watch of RHOBH and had reached the Brandy or Scheana conflict, so I couldn't resist diving into VPR any longer. Now I finally made it. Season 10. It feels like I've climbed a mountain and reached the peak. I know absolutely nothing except that Tom messed up really badly. Strangely, I'm quite excited. I have to admit, Ariana is one of my least favorite cast members, which I know isn't a popular opinion. Still, I'm ready to root for her because I also don't like Sandoval. I'll say this, I binge-watched 10 seasons and caught up just in time for season 11, without even knowing much about Sandoval. I started with RHOBH and liked LVP. Initially, I wasn't a fan of Ariana until she distanced herself from Tom's influence. Similarly, I didn't warm up to Katie until she asked for a divorce. I think us binge watchers have a different perspective because everything is so fresh, whereas long-term viewers grew up with the cast, those who did grow up anyway. I didn't start liking Ariana until around season 7 or 8, and even then, I was mostly neutral with occasional moments of fondness. It's only recently, in the last 5 or 6 years, that she's shown significant growth, which wasn't as obvious since she didn't receive as much focus compared to the others. Moreover, have any of your opinions changed upon rewatching the series? Personally, as I'm sure many of us are, I'm rewatching and currently in season 3. Initially, I was Team Tom and Ariana regarding Kristen. During my second rewatch, I found myself sympathizing more with Kristen. This time around, I see both sides and appreciate how Ariana and Kristen were able to forge a genuine friendship years later. The show often portrays the women in it as irrational at times. For instance, during Stassi's birthday outing when Katie was visibly struggling at the table while Schwartz whispered hurtful things to her, nearly reducing her to tears. Stassi then lashed out at Katie while Schwartz sat there instigating the situation. Another instance was when they prank called the cops, and Katie expressed her discomfort, especially given the political climate. Schwartz used this as an opportunity to verbally attack her, even going so far as to say hurtful things like, "This is why I don't like having sex with you." It's disturbing how this behavior is overlooked by the majority who still criticize Katie. Early on, Scheana was a different person. She aimed to please others, but also stood up for herself and her beliefs. However, after her relationships with Shay and Rob fell apart, it seemed to change her significantly. She became more of a people-pleaser, follower, and pushover. It's quite sad to witness her lose herself in this way. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.